The next call was a split call. Carol Beaumont.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I have to say that some of the contributions from the other side do show a lack of seriousness about what is a very important piece of legislation. And this is a bill that should be taking this country forward. Industry training and apprenticeships are vitally important. It should also be something not only taking our economy forward, but providing opportunities for New Zealanders to gain meaningful industry skills and get decent wages and conditions. Why? Why? Because we have structural skill shortages in this country. We are having to import labour to work on the Canterbury rebuild as an example of that. We have high unemployment. 27,000 young Aucklanders are not in education, training or employment, and 50% of them are Māori and Pacific. It's not good enough. And too many people are working in low-quality, low-wage jobs. This is an opportunity to get industry training and apprenticeships right. It was potentially an opportunity to gain a consensus about this vital area. And it is an area that New Zealand has a long and proud track record in. Many of us know people who, including my own father, people who have undertaken apprenticeships and then had very satisfying and important work roles as a consequence and contributed strongly to our economy. So we have a proud history, and this is a wasted opportunity. And it's due to a government that is ideologically driven and not willing to work strategically on such an important issue. We indicated a willingness to work constructively on this bill, and we acknowledged the need for changes. I think every member opposite has talked about what was wrong with industry training. As my colleague Chris Hipkins said, there was a lot that was right with it, but yes, there was a need for change, and so we accepted that. We've absolutely said that that was true, and much hard work has actually been done to rationalise the industry training industry, and that's good. That's good. But this bill potentially serves to undermine all of that hard work. Now, we supported this bill to Select Committee because we did want to try and get it right. And I too would acknowledge one of the positives in this bill, and that is the removal of age limits in relation to apprenticeships. Anybody should be able to undertake an apprenticeship at whatever age. And as others have said, people's careers change much more frequently nowadays. And so it makes perfect sense to not limit apprenticeships just to young people. But I guess we shouldn't be surprised that the government have taken the position they've taken on this legislation. As has already been said, National is the party that abolished apprenticeships. And while they did bring in industry training, it wasn't necessary to have got rid of what was a time-proven scheme. And in fact, Labor reinstituted apprenticeships, and with wide support in the community. National are also the party that threw out an agreed skills strategy that had been developed between business, between unions and government agencies, a strategy that actually had a clear path forward for skills and vocational training in this country. They also stopped the tripartite group that was meeting to progress that. One of their first acts was to do those two things. So, this is not surprise that they've come up with the legislation they've got. And they have failed to train New Zealanders to meet the skills needs that we have. We said, why don't you look at fast-track operations for apprenticeships in Christchurch? But no, completely ignored, and as a consequence, most of that work is being undertaken by migrant labour. So this bill is a missed opportunity. I've acknowledged the positive little element of it, but the things that are problems and strongly opposed by submitters: the funding of industry training to non-industry training organisations, including, it seems, foodstuffs who never even submitted, but business-specific rather than the public good of industry training. Large, not small businesses will benefit. Removing the skills leadership element is just ridiculous. This government seems to be pathologically opposed to planning and strategic approaches. Stephen Joyce said, well, we want to focus on what's important, training. And it doesn't stop them doing skills leadership. Well, how can you do the training if you don't know what you need to train for?
I call Holly Walker.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Well, like many of the speakers in this debate so far, I want to start by acknowledging